You've heard of cowboy builders, ones who swan in, take all of your cash and leave you with half a roof and no toilets. Well, I'm here today to talk to you about the web developer version. Internet sales are booming at the moment thanks to the pandemic, and your website is more important than ever. But if you use a dodgy website developer, then no one is going to want to use it. To understand poor web development, you need to understand what's going on behind the scenes. Each website build has two stages: design and development. Your website designer is like the architect. They map it all out, decide where everything should go and how it should look. The web developer then takes this plan and turns it into a fully functioning website. Some people do both roles. In most digital marketing agencies, you'll find that they have both a website developer and a designer who work in tandem, which is how we work at Acrylic. If either of these are not up to scratch, then you're going to end up with a pretty shocking website, and that's going to cost you not just the amount that the website cost you to build, but also the cost of any missed clients that come from those people who visit your website, look at it, and just go away again. So how can you tell if a web developer is a crook, a con, or a charlatan? Here are some simple things to look out for to make sure that you're not being taken for a ride. Number one, they don't have a website. Why not? It's literally what they do. They might be too busy building clients' websites. It's unlikely. Any good web developer will understand how bad that looks. Or the other reason is that they're just not that good. Number two, they have a website but it's ugly or out of date. Again, a web developer's website is like their portfolio. It doesn't need to be the flashiest thing in the world, but it does need to be fast, functional and easy to use. Number three, they can't give you any examples of past work. You're going to want to see a list of websites that web developer has worked on that you can click on and check out. It's just like hiring any other professional. You'll want to be able to see what they do before you give them your cash. So if they can't give you that, stay away from them, no matter how cheap they are. Number four, they don't give you an adequate breakdown of the work that will be done. When you ask a web developer for a quote, there are two things that you might get back. Number one, a single figure, or number two, an itemised breakdown of all of the work and what each bit will cost you. You want the second one. It'll show you exactly what work is going to be done. It'll show you exactly what the web developer is going to do. It will show you what your website is likely to end up at the end. And the bonus is that if the web developer puts time, care and attention into your quote, then they're going to put time, care and attention into your website too. Number five, they avoid your questions. This is an age-old tactic for hiding a lack of knowledge. Our tip here is to write down the questions that you want to ask beforehand, before you email, before you chat on the phone, before you have your Zoom call. And once you've spoken to them, go back through your list, tick off the ones that they definitely answered, highlight the ones that they avoided, and then ask yourself why. Number six, they have no understanding of SEO. SEO is just about content, isn't it? So if your web developer isn't writing your content, then they don't need to understand it. Wrong. Okay, the biggest ranking factor on Google is user experience. So if your user experience is good, if your website is fast and easy to navigate, then it's going to rank higher than competitors. So your web developer not only needs to understand SEO, it needs to be right at the forefront of their mind as they carry out your website build. Number seven, they suggest that you use outdated tools. Now, you're not a web developer, so you might not understand all of the latest, fashionable things about websites, and that's fine, you don't need to, but you can sort of get an idea if they suggest something that just sounds wrong. For example, website counters. When was the last time you saw a visitor counter on a website? You just don't anymore. Links to MySpace. You don't have to have a degree in web development to understand that that's a bad idea. If you're not sure, have a look at competitors' websites that you like. Have a look at websites that top of their field, and ask yourself, is that tool on there? And if not, why not? And again, don't be afraid to ask your web developer that question. And number 8, the final one, you can't get hold of them. Listen, a website build is a long process. And if you can't get in touch with your website developer, then it's going to be even longer. Now, if you can't get hold of them when you're trying to engage them for work, imagine what will happen if you have website teething problems when it goes live. It's going to be a right hassle. So bear all of these points in mind, and you stand the best chance of avoiding a potentially costly mistake. So how do you go about looking for an honest web developer? Well, here are some things that you should ask. Do they care about responsive mobile design? Most searches are now carried out on mobile, and it is really, really important that your mobile website looks just as good, if not better, than your desktop website. So make sure that they're talking about responsive mobile design, make sure that they care about it. Number 2, are they knowledgeable about SEO? I know we've already discussed this, but it is so important that they are up to speed on all of the best SEO tactics. Number 3, do they care about analytics? Look, the analytics will tell you whether your website is working or not. The web developer needs to understand whether people are just going on the website and clicking away again, because that's going to tell them that something is wrong. Number 4, what are their website development skills? Let them get technical, let them talk to you about JavaScript and HTML and WordPress. Number 5, are they going to keep you informed? Are they going to let you know about where your project is up to? Are they going to let you know about unforeseen costs? Number 6, are they responsive and creative? This is so important because, often projects don't run smoothly. You want somebody who is willing to change their ideas slightly, to move things around, to make sure that your website is as good as it can be. Because at the end of the day, the best website developers will be as passionate about your website as you are, and they're going to want it to succeed. Web design, of course, is just as important too. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh no, I know how to avoid a crook of a web developer, but what about web design? Well, never fear, because companies like ours, we have a web developer and a web designer who work hand in hand, so you can be sure that both sides of the project work smoothly.